I just wanted to ask, what are the constraints for R&D at the moment, and why there isn't enough focus or as much focus that there should be on research and development, and what's stopping us from finding ways to commercializing research as well? And maybe Blue and Tim could.
Three-word answer, it's money and people.
But that's on the domestic market. So if we are focusing on exports, and that could be a selling point.
It's still the same. The answer's still the same, because we just haven't invested enough in education and sciences and stuff. We've generally, like in my opinion, generally tended to train too many lawyers and accountants, and they don't create value.
And, so is that something that
the government needs to we have a societal challenge within New Zealand that needs some answers and needs those answers bloody quick.
Yeah, thanks.
My question was going to be related to that. You mentioned last week that we're unlikely to meet the 2025 goal with incremental growth from primary industries. Now, we've covered off quite comprehensively this evening that we can't mess too much with the production side of industry, as much as some of us might like to with things like biotechnology and genetics, because the market doesn't want that. My question was really going to be then, we've heard about colostrum, and there are other pharmaceutical grade fractions from milk that you get fantastic prices from. And I can't help but think that Peter's comments early on, there might be something worth looking at that in terms of the downstream processes and what we can do with things like biotechnology and genetics and pharmaceutical technology with milk fractions to add value, because otherwise we are going to maintain our incremental growth part. The other thing is worth looking at potentially might be genomics, but again we get back to the spending on R&D and what are we doing there. That's it.
Yeah, thanks. Peter.
I was just going to express my shock at the minute amount that's spent on organics research. I mean, $250,000 is kind of a couple of scientists and 10 students. It seemed a minute amount. And also my experience of working in ag and fish, we would sometimes find real farmers doing extraordinary things. I was an injection from the old DSIR, and we were very happy to look at farmers doing strange and extraordinary things, but I found the traditional ag and fish was extremely reluctant because those didn't fit in terms of their traditional R&D mode, and I knew many of those people were produced at my old university, Massey. So I think we need to be getting out and seeing what organic farmers are doing and what approaches they are taking to improve their own productivity. They're probably leaders anyway in terms of being sensitive to new ways of doing things, and whether or not you adopt their organic practices, they may well have important productivity practices for the rest of the industry. So not so much a question, but a comment on the level of what's potentially quite a disruptive technology for the industry, organic production.
No, yeah, please do.
Just a very good point, Peter. I think Blue's right, money and people. The third thing I'd add is strategy. And I think at a national level, this government, I hope, needs to bring together a really good strategy for R&D for the country, because really it's been lacking. Now we've tried to for the on-farm side, and we want that to link in. We want that to link in with meat and wool and with others. So strategy is a big one. And let's be careful when we think about how much money is needed for these things. I mean, we can't, and I think it goes to your point, Ron, about saying is 15 million a year enough for greenhouse gases. When you look at how much money we're making from a revenue perspective, the reality is I don't think we know right now, and I actually keep asking that question of our experts, how much money do we need to crack this thing? And I haven't actually got an answer back from them yet, so I agree. I know where you're coming from. They don't really know. And I think on your question about 250k, is there enough organics? Actually, I don't think we need any more right now, because we actually know a lot about what we need to know about organics farming. At the moment, we're going on a decent rate. Farmers are showing us on-farm innovation, and we're tapped into that. That's part of the way we work. and a lot of it's probably about driving how do we meet the demand and how do we drive that end. So I think we've just got to be careful, Peter, about making a judgment, I'm not saying making a judgment, about is there enough money or is it not, until we actually know what's the strategy first, what are we trying to achieve, and what's it going to take to hit those targets.
Yeah.
And it's a hard thing to assess, but we've got to do that.
Right. Now, very reluctantly, I've been a hopeless timekeeper tonight, but I hope you've enjoyed the discussion as much as I have.